Okay, we're recording. Good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome you, my colleague Bridget McKinney and I, Jessica Rios. We'd like to welcome you to our Unit 5 analysis of the Horizon Report and its relation to the ISTE standards. The ISTE standards that we covered during this, the readings of the Horizon Reports and during this unit are the ability to engage in professional growth and leadership. This is standards for teachers. Teachers continuously improve their professional practice, model lifelong learning, and exhibit leadership in their school and professional community by promoting and demonstrating the effective use of digital tools and resources. The next ISTE standard is professional development and program evaluation. This is standards for coaches. Technology coaches conduct needs assessments, develop technology-related professional learning programs, and evaluate the impact on instructional practice and student learning. The following ISTE standard is this ISTE standard of content knowledge and professional growth. This is a standard for standards for coaches. Technology coaches demonstrate professional knowledge, skills, and dispositions in content, pedagogical and technological areas, as well as adult learning and leadership, and are continuously deepening their knowledge and expertise. Now, the article that I read was the Horizon Report 2016 K-12 edition. It discussed key trends accelerating technology adoption in K-12 education. It discussed long-term trends. Those are trends that we were expected to see in 5 or more years. In particular, it discussed redesigning learning spaces. That means that they want to break away from the traditional classroom where they have rows of seating, and they want to provide flexible learning spaces. They noted that many factors such as lighting, decor, again, seating arrangements are definitely conducive to promoting academic performance of students. Moreover, it touched base on rethinking how schools work. Again, this is removing the traditional classroom or traditional way of learning by not having students sitting as long, as well as by collecting a series of grades that are based upon authentic learning experiences. This is done through collaborative efforts of students, and definitely other types of grades that are just not in the traditional sense, and having the students have the ability to redo assignments when they have failed attempts. I also discussed midterm trends. These are trends that we're expected to see in 3 to 5 years. It discussed collaborative learning. Again, this is providing students with the opportunities to collaborate and communicate with one another. The article noted using Google Apps or different types of cloud-based learning applications to have students modify or edit work that they are all taking partnership in creating or designing with one another. It also discussed deeper learning approaches, and this gears towards inquiry-based learning by allowing students to demonstrate their understanding through portfolios, through exhibitions, and also even having the opportunity to use social media to publish their work. Moving on, it discussed short-term trends. These are trends that we're expecting to see in 1 to 2 years. It discussed coding as a literacy, because coding happens to be, again, gearing towards our computer science that's on the rise right now, and it will continue to be on the rise. And these types of programs or these types of opportunities provide students with the ability to use problem-based learning to enhance their problem-solving abilities. It also discussed students as the creators by offering students the opportunity to gain confidence by learning how to set personal goals and how to create digital products.
Jessica, mine is so similar to yours. I read the 2017 version of the exact same piece of the Horizon Report that you read. And if you don't mind clicking on slide 4, it will help me with my train of thought.
Is it this one?
Well, it's not showing on my slide yet.
Wait, is it this one? Let me see.
For some reason, I am only seeing the title slide, and I hear you clicking on it.
Let me see if I can exit. Okay, you're able to see it now?
Absolutely, okay. That's perfect.
Okay,
So, mine is set up the exact same way as yours, and we discuss a lot of the same things, starting with those long-term trends that are going to take, 5 or more years to really see the impact of these trends. They describe the trend of advancing progressive learning approaches, and they realize
Mhm.
that this requires really, more of like a cultural shift, and that cultural shift, our transformation into that innovative, into that innovative type of learning. And our schools need to make considerations for the structures that promote those the exchange and the dialogue of those innovative ideas. And there really is no magical solution out there yet. There are really good models that are coming out, but there's really a cry and a need to identify those successful models with the lens of, if it is a good model for student learning and, that innovative culture promotion, is it sustainable, especially
Mhm.
with, frequent leadership changes and changes in funding and whatnot. How can we sustain this culture of innovation? And I think that, it's so in depth that, it really will take more than a few years to solve that challenge, or successfully see that trend
Mhm.
implemented, I should say. We also spoke about the deeper learning approaches, and really, to embrace the movement that we've been describing throughout our talk today. Those authentic learning experiences and the digital learning. We really have to prepare our students through paths that we don't really have a lot of experience with. At this level and at this depth. So, we need those deeper learning approaches. And the Horizon Report mentions the idea of fluency in the digital realm. And it's more than just understanding how to use the technology. And I remember back in the day in the classroom, we would give our tech competency checklist at the end of the year. And, we were looking for things like, do they know where the enter key is? Can they point to the mouse? Do they know where CPU is? And while it's still important to know what things are called, we're so much more complex if we are to really utilize these tools to their fullest capacity in these authentic ways. Um, with that being said, our students really need to be prepared to adapt to new learning contexts and being co-creators with others, because this authentic learning idea and this need for deeper learning approaches is not really a trend, it's a need, and it's not going away, just like you mentioned earlier.
Right.
Yeah, we really need our students to learn by doing, and cultivate that self-awareness and that self-reliance. But that brings us right into our kind of midterm goals, our midterm impact trends, which take about 3 to 5 years. And the first one that they mentioned in this category was the growing focus on measuring learning. And continuously measuring learning is a need. If our expectations of student learning is just increasing exponentially, it's up to us to monitor and adjust to exactly what those students know, so we can enable teachers to enable students to reach their fullest capacity.
Mhm.
um, all of the new technologies with these hugely robust analytic systems, they're giving us the tools and the access to make these you know I guess both holistic, and individualized decisions for student learning. And that's really exciting to see. With those midterm trends is the idea, like you mentioned, of redesigning those learning spaces, and how important that learning environment support the shift in instruction, and the shift in expectation, and the shift in trends of thinking. And all these technologies really do force us to redesign our learning environment. And even in my district, A-Leaf ISD, so much emphasis in the past few years and in the years coming are on our new Career and Technology Center, which is going to be a state-of-the-art facility that we're very proud to see what comes of that. And then finally, they brought us through some short-term impact trends. And, these are really things that we see happening all the time. More and more we see coding being used in the classroom, and, a tool for literacy, and, computational thinking and logic. And that's been on the uprise for a while. And really, it goes to this idea of prioritizing computational thinking in the curriculum and students needing to develop those skills to use the technologies, because really there's such a big need for to be able to gather data and break it down into smaller parts, analyze patterns, put things back together, and perhaps rethink things in a new way. And all of these skills are needed to succeed in our digital world. And then finally, the very last thing that I wanted to mention in one of those short-term impact trends was the rise of STEAM learning. The trend of multidisciplinary learning has always been present in education, in some way, shape, or form. And right now, the movement is definitely towards integrating, the arts and the humanities and the engineering and the sciences, and language supports all. So, with this intent of emphasizing these well-rounded perspectives and developing well-rounded learners that are really learning in a hands-on field, and developing skills that are so vital to that real-world success. And looping this all back to those ISTE standards, the need for the professional development, the coaching, teaching teachers to embrace new pedagogies and things that they're not familiar with. It takes a huge task to implement these ideas well, and a lot of it comes from how administrators and coaches implement and support teachers in the classroom, and empower them to embrace these trends and make them happen for our students.
Mhm. Well, that was a wonderful analysis, Bridget.
Well, thank you. I agree, and so was yours, Jessica, and it's a pleasure as always to speak about this with you.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you for Unit 6.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.